ページと YouTube、スペードのエースイーズビームービーイーズを好きにして購読してください。よろしくお願いします。
This will only be discussed according to my reading and research. Japanese history is called Japan, and Japanese state is a country located in East Asia. The country of Japan consists of 4 major islands: Honshu, Kyushu, Shikoku, and Hokkaido. Japan is one of the wealthiest countries in the world for transportation and electronic products. The capital, Tokyo, is the largest city in the world and is where Mount Fuji is located. The ancient history of Japan is the Jomon period, Yayoi period, Kofun period. It can be divided into 3 eras of the Jomon period. During this period, the Ainu, meaning humans, descendants of the Jomon period of Honshu and Hokkaido, lived. The Jomon period is the Neolithic period in Japan, and in Tagalog this term means rope trace. The name is named after the jar where the trace of the rope was found as a design. They lived in hunting and fishing. The ancient Japanese lived in Stilthous. Fukaba Kaya cooking pot made in the Jomon period, 2600 to 1500 BCE. It is a fire-like design found in almost all burns of the Jomon period. Yayoi period, around 300 BC, the Jomon culture was gradually replaced by the advanced Yayoi culture. The name Yayoi comes from the area of Tokyo where this ancient pottery was discovered in 1884. The new Yayoi culture was first seen in the western part of Japan and gradually spread to the east and then to the north of Honshu. During this period, I started farming, weaving, and making things using iron, bronze, and shamanism. Shamanism is an ancient practice in people's healing and lifestyle. This is a human way of interacting with nature and all living things. The early Japanese worshipped the sun, so they associated their country with the sun or Japan. Amaterasu Omakami is the name of their holy day 8. Kofun period. The Kofun period began in 250 AD and continued until 538 AD. The term Kufon comes from a tomb or mound that functions as a tomb lying on an island in the sense of Kyushu. This tomb was built by a nobleman at that time. The recorded history of the afternoon began during Kufon. People at the time believed in animism or belief that all natural objects have a spirit. During the Kofun period, aristocratic societies with leaders who could take advantage of violence also emerged. The Kofun period ended around 538 AD, and the creation of luxurious beds by Yamato and other aristocrats was discontinued due to Buddhist beliefs that emphasized the short-lived human life here in the world. The tumulus is a symbol of the eternal existence of aristocrats beyond this world as well. Sugar period. The Sugar period continued after the Kofun period. These two were sometimes called the Yamato period. Asuka has seen many changes in the fields of song, society and politics that began in the late Kofun period. The name Asuka comes from the area where many of the country's temporary capitals were built, now south of Nara. In the Asuka period, the names Japan and Dainippon were used to refer to the whole of Japan. The Japanese government is said to have come from the Yamato family. 592 AD when Prince Shotoku became powerful. His rule brought peace to Japan by proclaiming the Article 17 Constitution. This constitution was once the basis of the morality and dignity expected of high-ranking government officials and emperor subjects. During the Asuka period, there was also a centralized Japanese government. Buddhism began to spread in place of the animism that was popular during the Kofun period. The government has also begun sending diplomatic missions to China so that they can apply what they have learned to Japanese society. Nara period. The central government was established in Nara city and continued from 710 to 794 AD. The Nara period is also considered to be the golden age of ancient Japanese history. The name of this era comes from Nara, Japan's first permanent capital, which was founded on the basis of Chang'an, the capital of the Tang dynasty of China. Nara has become the center of national political and cultural power. Even in the Nara period, rural areas were the main focus. The Shintoism of many villagers is based on the worship of believers in the spirit of nature and their ancestors. The first Japanese literature was formed in the Nara period. The writings of Kojiki and Nihon Shoki can be regarded as political documents because they report and confirm the widespread power of the emperors nationwide. These two papers were a joint effort of the court to record the events and history of this period. In this effort, the Japanese invented two ways to write kana, or to refer directly to katana and hiragana. Kana served as the Japanese alphabet, syllabary. The result is a huge collection of Japanese poetry called Manyoshu. Heian period, Mr. Fujiwara. The Heian period is the last part of Japanese classical history from 794 to 1185 AD. During this period, the courts of the Japanese Empire are said to have reached their climax, where many wonderful poems and literature were produced. At the same time, the Japanese national anthem of Kimi ga Dai, or May Rule Forever, which means peace in Tagalog, was written. During this period, excellent works in literature such as The Tale of Genji, written by Mrs. Murasaki Shikibu, appeared. For this reason, Japanese viewers, who were praised during the Heian period, eventually emerged the type of samurai that began to dominate the feudal era in Japanese history. Private troops or troops were formed due to intensified fighting between aristocratic clans. Bushido means the rule of honor that values loyalty, honor and courage. During this time, the emperor completely lost political power, but he remained a symbol and performer of other religious ceremonies. Kamakura period, Minamoto Shogunate. After Minamoto no Yoritomo defeated Taira, he founded Kamakura City as the center of government that lasted from 1185 to 1333. Minamoto was the first leader of the Kamakura Shogunate. During this period, feudalism became stronger. Although still powerful in the land under his jurisdiction, the daimyo became subject to the power of the Kamakura shogun. The Mongols invaded in the afternoons of 1272 and 1281. But the Mongols succeeded due to bad weather and the defense of the Japanese. The Japanese are believed to be protected by strong winds called kamikaze or holy winds. The Muromachi period, Ashikaga Shogunate, and the Muromachi period are the times of Japanese history ruled by General Ashikaga. In the second year of the Mamura era, Japan's anxiety became so intense that it was called the Warring States period or the Warring States period. Missionaries of various religions also visited Japan. The Ashikaga shogunate was over when Nobunaga Oda expelled the last shogun, Yoshiaki Ashikaga, from the capital, Kyoto. The Azuchi Momoyama period, the uprising of Japan was over, and the country was united under the guidance of Nobunaga Oda and Hideyoshi Toyotomi. At the same time, Nobunaga made Azuchi the center of the government. Hideyoshi took over Nobunaga, centered on Momoyama, banned Christianity, and taxed farmers. During this time, the Japanese tried to occupy South Korea and China, but with no success. Edited by YSV Movies. The Ace of Spades.